Hey guys, this is Alisha Costanzo. Welcome back to my channel. I have not been vlogging. Terrible. I've been reading the same book since Sunday, which is interesting because I was reading two books that were not on my TBR video because I got them kind of at the end of May, beginning of June, and I wanted to get through them quickly so I can get onto my planned TBR for the month. And y'all, I had to DNF one of them, and one that a lot of people are talking about, The Girl Who Drank the Moon. I don't know if I just have an aversion to middle grade, but the writing style I could not get on board with. I'm coming to find I really, really don't like stories that focus too heavily on children and being unable to control uncontrollable children. It's just not my thing. I found this with Cersei. I found it again in this book. I'm not really a fan of the bratty children causing trouble, even if innocently causing trouble. I don't know. I guess it's a trope I don't like. So I stopped it. I even tried the audiobook, which usually saves me in these kind of instances, but I just could not find myself focusing on it. I do want to try the audiobook later. Now is not the time. I got a third of the way through the book before I was just like, I'm not enjoying it. So I stopped. If I don't enjoy reading something, I'm not going to keep reading it. So I stopped. I also just finished The Children of Eden. I think it's Joey Graceffa or something. I'll put it up here so you guys can see the cover. I just finished it, again, not on my TBR, but something that looked interesting that I didn't have an audiobook for the week, so I started listening to it, and I liked bits of it. I liked the original idea of, well, I don't know how original it is, because I did see it in The 100, of this idea of a first child versus a second child, but I think the world was different enough that I didn't feel like it was copying it on, but we did follow the hidden child, and there's all these twists and turns in this triangle and with a girl and a boy, which I really, really liked. The fact that because she had never really met people, she was just willing to throw herself into the first girl she met and the first guy she met, and even talking about, I can have friends without worry. I've been alone my whole life. I shouldn't have to worry about being friends with them, but you're kissing both of them, sweetheart, so they're not exactly friends. But I didn't have qualms with her sexuality at all, because it was just because she had never had that experience. It was so natural and fluid, and she didn't really have to think about it too hard. So I did enjoy that part. I'd say 3.54. I enjoyed it, but it was tough to get through at the same time, even on audiobook. So 3.5. It was enjoyable. I think if you like dystopic text and environmentalism and social class and that type of thing, and this kind of controlling government system, and obviously there's going to be treacherous things, like there's obviously corrupt behavior, there's obviously classism, and I don't really have a word for it. It's not quite racism. Populationism? I don't really know. But the second child pretty much gets tortured, killed if they're found, and all of these things. So it also reminded me a bit of Divergent, because in the beginning something happens when they're running away, and it was a very Divergent-y vibe. So there's enough interesting details to make it new to me, but at the same time I kind of knew what was happening. The ending surprised me a little bit, which made me happy. I always like when books surprise me. So yeah. I think a lot of people like this book, even though it wasn't like my top book. I still think people will enjoy it. So if it sounds like something that you'd enjoy, please let me know if you read it. I'd love to know your opinion on any of the books that I read, if you've read them or are going to read them, etc. So yeah, book one for the week done, even though it's not on my TBR. I did start reading The Black Echo by Michael Connelly. This is another older book. This is my friend pick. It's one of my dad's favorite series, and he gave me the book when I was up there in New York last year, and so I finally pulled it down and started reading it, and I'm surprised by how into it I am. Now, I loved the show watching with my dad, so I know kind of what's going on, even though they combined things for the show, but there's a lot of stylistic things I don't like. They bring me out of the world. I love the character. I love the world. I love what's going on. Like, I am invested. But all of those telling words just pull me right out of it, and it drives me nuts. Like, I can tell he was a reporter. I see that in his style. There's a lot of missing commas, which is natural for reporters. Reporters tend to try to save as much space as they can. So, the editor in me wants to get my hands on it and clean it up. I think it'd be a lot better with all of that telling stuff in it. But I'm halfway through it already. I say already, it's Thursday. And the reason I haven't been vlogging and probably haven't been reading so much is because we've been at the dentist. I've been to the dentist 3 times this week. First day was for my son, so that he could get his root canal finished and finally has a temporary crown on there. We're both waiting for our final crowns, or our permanent ones. I have 2 that I had filed down that are going to get crowns on them. And today I had to go back in because my crown, because there's 2 right next to each other, they made 1 crown temporarily for it and it split. So I had to go in and they had to fix that. So I'm on close to page 200. It's a 400-page book. So I am going to finish it by the end of the week. I have 2 more books I'm supposed to read this week to be on track. None of them are audiobooks. What did I do to myself? I have 5 books on hold that are all audiobooks. I'm crazy. I wonder if I can get ahead and like double up my reading with an audiobook or not. And just like kind of get myself towards that before the the readathon I'm supposed to get to next week starts. And then I can be like, oh, I finished it during the readathon, so it counts, right? I might be cheating, but I might. Any way I can get through my books the fastest, I might do. Don't blame me for this. I make my own rules. There's no actual prizes, so I'm gonna make my own rules. We're getting this what I'm gonna do. We'll see. And I'm enjoying it. So yeah, that was the point of this. All right, I'm gonna go back to doing stuff and reading because that's my life. See you soon. So I started 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. Opening chapter got me hooked. Interdimensional travel, death, revenge. The last line was something like, I don't know if I am a cold-blooded killer, but I'm gonna find out, and I'm with it. The start of the next chapter, I only got 1 page into the chapter 2, is talking about how she's not reliable with the science, so she doesn't really have to explain it, but this is how I understand it. But I'm an artist, so take my word with a grain of salt, and that's the perfect kind of setup for an unreliable narrator to allow us the disbelief to believe this is true without needing it explained. She did well. So, and no, I'm not done with the Black Echo yet. I'm still about 2/3 of the way through it. I just didn't have access to it at the moment, so I started this book, and I'm excited that I did. I'm also going to start The Looking Glass War audio while I'm cooking. Try to catch up because I am behind by 2 books. I think I gave myself too much to do. We'll see. I've just convinced myself that I want to run instead of walk because my 2 miles will be over faster. Let's see if I regret that when I'm done. Alright guys, let's have a talk. I did shit at vlogging this week. So let me lay out my week for you. Sunday, normal. I start my weeks on Sundays. Sunday was normal, got some work done. Monday, 8 o'clock in the morning. My husband and I took the boy to get his teeth done. So we were there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I did bring my book. I read a bit of my book. My husband wanted to chat a little bit too, so I chatted, and of course the receptionist was also really fun to chat. And if you can hear that, that's thunder, by the way, it's storming. So we got done there before noon. Went home, made lunch, got some normal work done. Didn't really get to pick the book back up. Tuesday, my husband had an appointment at 9:30 at the dentist. I went with him. The boy stayed home. I got to read a little bit then as well. Not as much as I would like, but I got some reading done. Then we went home for lunch and came back because I had an appointment at 1:30. The boy also needed to have his temporary crown redone while we were there. We were there until 3:30, 4 o'clock. Went home, made dinner, got to read a little bit, had a headache, had my teeth drilled, knew I was going to do a 12-hour challenge on Wednesday, went to bed early, didn't really do that much. Wednesday, I did a 12-hour writing challenge. I did read some in between those hours, but I wrote at least for 20-25 minutes to half an hour or more every single hour, minus the ones where I couldn't because I was cooking. Cooking usually takes me an hour and a half, so it makes sense that I couldn't cook during those times. I did take a break at one point to read purposefully. I took an hour to do some reading, to do some administrative work that I needed to do, and then got back to writing. I spent the whole day writing. I actually did 13 hours if we want to get technical, but there's that. Wednesday, not a lot of reading done. Thursday, I went back to the dentist because there was a chip in my crown. There's still a chip in my crown. They filled it and filed it down and everything else, but it's broken back open again. It doesn't seem to be affecting my teeth, so I haven't gone back for them to fix it again. I'm just gonna wait for my permanent crown, hopefully next week. Anyways, Thursday I went back in the middle of the day for that, and then I started making up work that I got behind on because I went to the dentist for 3 days. I did a 12-hour writing challenge, which was really stupid of me. So I did also get some reading done Thursday and Friday. Friday, did I do anything special on Friday? I think I know at some point during the week. Most of the week I've been reading The Black Echo. I did start the 1,000 Pieces of You, which you'll have seen me talk a little bit about. I'm interested in it. And then my loan was up and I renewed it, but I just haven't. I've had to count something else as my purple prompt, and that was The Children of Eden, because it had purple on the cover and I had already read it. It wasn't planned. I do want to read 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. I don't want anybody to think that I didn't read it because I didn't like it. I just am trying to fit my prompts, and so it kind of fell aside. It is still on my TBR. I did renew it. I still have it on my Kindle app. I am going to read it. Hopefully after this next book, because I have 2 audiobooks hanging out for what happens next, so maybe I can slip that in there. What else? I started reading The Looking Glass Wars, which I'm enjoying. I had a tough time to start with, but when you walk every day and you get, since the boy has been mowing the lawn, I've been able to read it because I've been walking and running on my own, versus when we all go for walks together, we tend to chat, so I don't get to read. But yeah, I haven't finished any books this week, which is terrible, but I have made a lot of progress on quite a few of them. By the end of this week, I was almost done with Black Echo. And you'll see next week that I finished it, and I got to talk to my dad about it, which was so much fun because it was his pick, it's my friend pick for the Make Your Myth Taker prompts. And of course, the Looking Glass Wars is also for foiled and maps, so foiled for the Make Your Myth Taker and the map for the Detectathon, which is next week. So I got a head start on it. Still not done with it though, so I think it counts. That's what I'm going with anyways. But y'all, I didn't do very much reading. I mean, I did. I read a 400-page book and another 400-page book, so it's not like I'm not reading. I just had so much business and personal stuff take over that reading had to fall behind. And since I don't get paid to read, I read for fun and enjoyment. All those other things come first. So, yeah. Did those kind of weeks happen to you guys? I'm hoping I'm not in a slump. I don't feel like I'm in a slump. I'm just busy. Alright, let me know what you guys are reading, how you get over being too busy to read. Like, how do you guys make time to read sometimes? I don't know how I do it. I don't know how I fit it in. But, oh, okay. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm gonna go now because I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Sorry for the weirdness and the lack of vlogginess. I will wrap up some books next week, I promise. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.